Back here at home, the unrest in Portland continues to rage out of control. Antifa terrorists are destroying government. Oh, wait, that's the White House. Oh, that's what Trump did on purpose, without permission, to the White House. I told you we should have made him put down a security deposit. Over the summer, Trump announced he was going to build a big, beautiful ballroom, but promised it would not in any way affect the structure of the White House. And then he demolished the White House.
The president has time to do everything but what he needs to focus on. In fact, we heard the press secretary say that his main priority is the ballroom that no one asked for, the ballroom that requires him to destroy historic pieces of the White House. And so it doesn't seem like he's interested.
Trump's week kicked off the way it usually does. Loud, messy, and guaranteed to end with a headline that sounds more like the punchline to a late-night monologue, but this time it wasn't just late-night hosts cracking jokes. Jimmy Kimmel and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett were practically running a live dissection. They took Trump's chaos and turned it into this perfect blend of comedy and commentary that hit harder than any official statement ever could. What started as another episode of presidential theater ended up feeling like a full-blown roast. Sharp, stylish, and so devastating that even his own advisors were probably debating whether to send flowers or quietly pack their bags.
Kind of lumbers past the flags. He salutes the drapes. I don't know what he's saluting. Keep going, Mr. President. We need you to keep moving along. Now he's just bored. Now he's like, what the hell am I doing? I'm missing Sean Hannity for this.
Thank you so much, Madam Ranker, and thank you so much to our witnesses for being here today. You know, I've sat and I've listened, and what my colleague, Mr. Krishnamurthy, just talked about was just blatant racism. Like, I'm gonna just call a thing a thing. Like, this administration is racist.
Trump, the self-proclaimed master showman, has somehow turned the presidency into a reality show reboot nobody asked for, but everyone keeps watching. Kimmel came out swinging, turning every ridiculous contradiction into a perfectly tuned symphony of mockery, while Jasmine Crockett, the sharp-tongued attorney turned congresswoman, sliced through his delusions with the kind of precision only real logic can deliver. Together, they peeled back the layers of his performance and revealed what the art of the deal really is, the constant creation of outrage dressed up as strategy.
He didn't tell the public he was going to tear down the entire East Wing, which, as you know, is a part of the People's House.
I think this was a judgment call on the president. The president is a master builder. You know, I don't know. I assume that maybe parts of the East Wing, could have been asbestos, could have been mold.
Could have been some old Chinese food. Could have been ghosts.
Trump built his entire political empire the same way he built his brand, with gold letters, loud rallies, and promises that disappear faster than campaign morals. But Jasmine Crockett wasn't fooled for a second. She tore right through the shiny illusion and exposed a president running the country like a casino where somehow the House always loses. Every speech feels like a rerun, every policy like a recycled remix, and every scandal just another sequel to a movie nobody ever wanted to bankroll in the first place.
Interested. It is my hope that his friends start calling him Jeff Bezos when those Amazon planes are not flying. Hopefully, he will listen to them because he's not listening to the pain that the American people are suffering through, as, again, you played a clip and he said everybody's going to be in good shape.
Kimmel, standing on his late-night stage like a seasoned warrior in the battlefield of absurdity, reminded everyone that nothing Trump does shocks us anymore. He's made chaos feel routine. He's not really leading the country. He's just narrating his own confusion as it happens. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett brought in the voice of reason wrapped in righteous anger, calling out the obvious. While Trump's busy tweeting complaints, Americans are still waiting for actual results. It's like the whole country's stuck in a group project where the loudest guy does the least and still demands the most credit.
Less like a president and more like a property brother. He blew up the East Wing. He redecorated the Oval Office. He paved over the Rose Garden. He added a golden hall of presidents, and he isn't done.
This house was not taken care of the way it was supposed to be. I take very good care of property. You'll notice the floors downstairs, I paid for them. marble, the most beautiful marble.
What makes their takedown hit so hard isn't just the jokes, it's the truth behind them. Trump's whole presidency runs on performance, and Crockett basically pulled back the curtain to show the engine choking on its own noise. His press conferences feel more like open mic nights where the punchlines aren't meant to be funny, but somehow still are. His so-called policies run on vibes and nostalgia, like shouting old slogans can magically replace actual leadership. And yet, his followers keep clapping through every stumble, mistaking chaos for charm and reruns for reality.
Which people were already hungry in this country. We have not done right by those that have been struggling, because $6 a day to eat doesn't fix it. And you say everybody's going to be in good shape as you are putting more money into your son's pocket, as you are saying that we should take American taxpayer dollars and put them in your pocket to the tune of $280 million. I mean, I don't know who...
Kimmel didn't sugarcoat it. He called Trump's presidency exactly what it is. A show powered by vibes, revenge, and a constant hunger for applause. And Crockett's words hit even harder. Not just because they were sharp, but because she came with receipts. She laid out the missed deadlines, the nonstop investigations, and that revolving door of staffers quitting faster than contestants on a reality dating show. Every scandal bleeds into the next until accountability turns into performance art. Kimmel doesn't even have to stretch the truth. Trump's reality already sounds like satire. Together, Kimmel and Crockett turned what could have been just another news cycle into a clinic on how to expose dysfunction through laughter. They didn't just mock his incompetence, they charted it piece by piece. Every wild claim, every exaggerated gripe, every desperate grab for control added another crack to the wall of his ego. Trump doesn't really lie, he performs truth. Like it's optional, rewriting the script the moment it stops flattering him.
Down in the Palm Room, the most beautiful floors, the most beautiful lights and chandeliers, and now it's starting to gleam like it should. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, I think.
Wait a minute. Is it possible that he's planning to sell the White House? He's gonna fix it up and flip it on us? Marble, the most beautiful marble. He talks like it's an episode of Love It or...
Crockett has that rare kind of presence that cuts straight through the noise like a sharp blade through paper. No theatrics, no fake smiles, just precision. She doesn't get fazed by Trump's showmanship or his larger-than-life bravado. She dismantles it piece by piece. When she calls out hypocrisy, it's not just politics, it's surgery. She exposed how Trump's version of leadership isn't about running a country, it's about managing his own grievances. Every crisis becomes personal, every mistake someone else's fault. Under Trump, the presidency turned into a never-ending audition for sympathy. And then there's Kimmel, who knows exactly how to turn that chaos into comedy. He painted the whole administration like a bad sitcom, where the villains are obvious, the heroes are lost, and the writers have no idea what story they're telling. It would be hilarious if it weren't so real. What makes Crockett's delivery hit harder, though, is that beneath the laughter, she's diagnosing something serious. She wasn't mocking Trump. She was calling out America's addiction to outrage, the way people mistake noise for leadership and drama for direction. Trump didn't create that dysfunction, he just figured out how to sell it.
He has always been a racist, and that is what we are enduring in this country. Let me give you some facts behind this racism, and they get mad when I say the things that I say, but I will not stop speaking the truth. Number one, I said that what we were experiencing in this country felt like what I would imagine slave patrols to look like. And frankly, anybody that knows anything about slave patrols, this is exactly what it was like. We're talking about lawless people that are going around with no warrants or anything, and it's all about rounding people up. And
while Kimmel spun that realization into sharp, effortless comedy, Crockett turned it into something heavier, an indictment of the whole circus that keeps Trump relevant. They weren't just mocking him, they were dismantling the system that feeds his myth. The irony, of course, is that Trump needs this kind of attention. Every joke becomes fuel, every jab another chance to play the victim. But this time, Kimmel and Crockett flipped the entire narrative, making him the punchline of his own legend, the self-proclaimed emperor of chaos whose crown was always imaginary. With each segment, they peeled back another layer of illusion, showing a leader whose confidence only exists under bright lights, whose power fades when the applause dies. Kimmel took Trump's latest absurdity and turned it into a metaphor for how he governs. Improv style, making it up as he goes and justifying it with swagger later. Crockett, on the other hand, brought it back to the real world. She reminded everyone that every distraction, every scandal, every noise has a cost. Missed opportunities, broken trust, fading credibility. The laughter stopped feeling like mockery and started sounding like release. a nation sighing in exhaustion after years of chaos. Kimmel joked that Trump's only strategy is to stay so loud that the truth can't be heard over the noise, and Crockett drove that point home. In Trump's world, noise is power. Keep people outraged, keep the headlines spinning, and accountability disappears in the echo.
Around the plate, it reminded me of something. I was trying to think, what did that remind me of? Right. The Westminster Dog Show. It's a very similar event. He and that terrier have the same hairstylist for years. The Prime Minister pulled out all the stops for Trump. She nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. She had the World Series on TV for him. She even gave him some gifts.
Crockett turned mockery into a lesson. When the presidency becomes a performance, democracy feels more like theater seating, and their roast landed because it exposed the whole machinery behind the delusion. It wasn't just about Trump. It was about the system that keeps him in power, the pundits who excuse him, the officials who bend, the voters who mistake defiance for strength. Kimmel's wit scratched the surface, but Crockett's insight hit the foundation. Together, they balanced comedy with conviction, turning late-night jokes into a kind of civic intervention. What made it hit hardest was that every punchline came with proof. Botched policies, ethics violations, embarrassing gaffes, all repurposed into a highlight reel of dysfunction. Trump's presidency has become the first where fact-checkers are on constant overtime, and comedians double as archivists. Every joke echoes a headline, and every headline reads like satire. The absurdity isn't exaggerated anymore, it's just reality, perfectly timed. Kimmel and Crockett didn't need props. The chaos writes its own script. What used to sound like exaggeration now feels like understatement. And Crockett's final point cut the deepest. The most dangerous secret isn't what Trump hides. It's what America quietly accepts.
By heart by the end of the night. There were incredible game-saving plays at third, at the plate, on both sides. It went on, and it was like one of your mother's voicemails. Every time you thought it was finished, it kept going. But then Freddie Freeman came to bat in the bottom of the 18th. And
11:50 in Los Angeles. Freeman sends a fly ball to center field.
When the cameras went off, the silence wasn't empty. It was recognition. The audience got it. Satire had become survival. Kimmel's smirk hung in the air like punctuation, and Crockett's calm, steady stare carried the weight of a nation stuck between disbelief and exhaustion. Together, they'd turned laughter into truth and humor into accountability. The roast ended, but the reality didn't. Every time the curtain drops, it's just setting the stage for another round of deja vu. Scandals blend together like bad improv. Different setting, same punchline. Trump's presidency has become a perpetual rerun, a loop where accountability never shows up and outrage is the laugh track. Just when it feels like the finale has arrived, he spins a new subplot, recycling the same theatrics with a fresh coat of bravado. It's not governance, it's non-stop performance, no intermission. Kimmel and Crockett see it all, clearer than anyone. They don't treat it as news, they treat it as absurdist art. Every contradiction, every habit of rewriting reality, every failure turned spectacle. It's deliberate, not random. Kimmel approaches it like a critic reviewing the worst show ever renewed, while Crockett dissects the machinery behind it, fully aware this chaos is by design. Every scandal exists for a reason, to exhaust, desensitize, and make dysfunction feel routine.
Stops for Trump. She nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. She had the World Series on TV for him. She even gave him some gifts. She gave him a golf bag signed by a Japanese golfer and gave him a putter once owned by the late Prime Minister Abe. Unfortunately, he no longer has anywhere to put that putter because all his closet space.
The absurdity keeps thriving because the audience keeps watching. Outrage has become ritual and disbelief barely registers anymore. America's political conversation now moves like entertainment media. Tease, shock, trend, repeat. Crockett exposes that rhythm, showing how every breaking story really breaks nothing. Kimmel anchors the humor with precision, reminding us that the jokes stop being funny when real lives and livelihoods are at stake. Together, they turn satire into autopsy. It's not that Kimmel and Crockett find Trump entertaining. They find him revealing. He's what happens when spectacle replaces strategy, when leadership becomes a brand and truth is negotiable. Each joke lands like a warning wrapped in a smirk, a reminder that unchecked absurdity becomes policy. Their sting comes not from exaggeration but from accuracy. The presidency has become a carousel of contradictions, spinning too fast for anyone to get off. Promises dissolve, enemies turn into allies, Allies are tossed under the bus by sunrise. Kimmel mocks the chaos, the contradictions, the disappearing logic. Crockett dissects the psychology behind it, how confusion becomes control and chaos keeps people chasing clarity that never comes. This isn't incompetence anymore. It's choreography. The noise isn't random. It's strategy, dressed up as spontaneity.
You know, I don't know what it says. I mean, it is very hard to say that you can predict anything when it comes to this White House, especially when it comes to this particular president. I will tell you that, you know, it seems like he's not on the same page with the Republicans. We know that here recently, he basically said, hey, just go ahead and explore the nuclear option. You know, they've been trying to blame this on the Democrats the entire time, when those of us who understand how things work, they have exploited the nuclear option more than once. And I'm not suggesting.
By now, the spectacle runs on autopilot. Trump acts, the press reacts, the public debates, and before the outrage dies down, the cycle spins again. It's exhausting, familiar, relentless. Kimmel and Crockett turn that fatigue into a weapon, shaping laughter sharp enough to cut through the fog. Every joke lands because it's built on something real, a truth too uncomfortable to face without irony as armor. Crockett brings a calm, steady force to the chaos, dissecting policy with surgical precision, stripping away the shiny slogans to reveal the incompetence beneath. Her composure hits harder than anger, exposing just how fragile this whole spectacle really is. Kimmel takes that revelation and translates it into sharp satire, turning frustration into clarity, so the absurdity hits even through the laughter. Together, they deliver a kind of comedic accountability, documenting history as it unfolds. And yet the cycle never ends. Another headline, another scandal, another twist that feels all too familiar because it is. Trump's presidency isn't about resolution. It's about reruns, keeping the country trapped in perpetual suspense. But Kimmel and Crockett keep breaking the illusion, proving that satire survives because truth demands it.